Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to On the Clock with Erin Greene. Of course, Erin Greene is out. That means C.A. Nuri is in, and I am babysitting her spot for maybe the entire week. She should be in later on in the week, but while she's out, I'm actually taking care of one or two of her guests. And I have some big stars in studio, actually, who are talking about a program they're having at the end of the week. When is your program starting?
Sunday, August 18th.
18th. That's next week.
That's this Sunday. This Sunday come in.
I don't know the days of the week.
That's
I don't know
okay.
the days of the week, but I'm sure today is Tuesday. And so Tuesday, we are delighted to have you here. We have a pair that started an organization like that, empowerment. And I'm trying to get more details. But before that, I want you to introduce yourself, right? And then I want to have a narrative on why you're doing this, how this all came up. And then we'll just go through that.
Okay.
Good? So you go ahead
Sounds
first.
good.
Well, seeing that you want to have a narrative, I'm Crystal, and I'm the Catherine in Catherine Florence.
And my name is Ashley, and I am the Florence in Catherine Florence.
But you know that Catherine Florence is a name.
Yeah.
And it's not your name.
No.
So did you just make that name up, or how did you come?
No, so what we had done was Catherine Florence is actually a combination of two very important matriarchal figures in our lives. For Florence is my grandmother. She passed away back in 2013, and she had Alzheimer's for most of the time that I was born, when I had known her. But she, when her husband passed away when my mother was 16. And she had to raise 4 children by herself. And she managed to get all of her 4 kids through school and into college. And I thought that she was a really important figure in our lives, you know, a really strong woman, you know, being able to do that kind of thing by herself. And Crystal could tell you about
Yeah. So Catherine is my very youthful 106-year-old great-great-grandmother. That woman, I see the look on your face, yeah.
That's your great-great-grandmother, and she is now 106?
Yes, sir.
So she's live and vibrant.
She is a force of nature
God, is good.
all the time.
Good. I mean, I'm kind of like, you know, when you get tickled and eerie to have a 106-year-old great-grandmother that is good.
Yeah.
No, finish telling me about Catherine.
Child, we could be here all day if we talk about Catherine. Catherine is up and kicking. Catherine has more strength than me, quite frankly.
But go ahead. So what exactly is Catherine Florence? And why did you decided to have your loved ones, pay tribute to your loved ones and combine the name. But what is your organization? What is it all about?
So the Catherine Florence Initiative is a nonprofit that we decided to start because we're both very passionate about education, and I'm particularly passionate about human rights because that's my area of specialty in school. And so when Ashley and I were having lots of conversations about what it is exactly that we wanted to do here, the big thing that came out for us was how do we promote education and how do we help people in a way that then empowers them to help themselves. And so that's how the whole thing came about. So our 2 main missions in the Catherine Florence Initiative are human rights advocacy through education. Hence, we began with women's rights as our first initiative of the year. And then the promotion of education as well as trying to improve access to education in the country for young Bahamians.
Now, you're young.
Very.
You're definitely younger than me, right?
Babies.
Why did you see the need to be advocates, right? I mean, when you're young, you tend to just want to enjoy life. You travel, you know, you go dating. And you seem to have taken on to speak out. I want to represent. I want to put my shoulder to the wheel. That's strange for young, attractive women
Thanks.
who could just be enjoying life. You know,
Yeah.
why take on this burden?
Yeah, it is. Well, I can't speak for Ashley, but I know for me, I've done a lot of strange things in my life, and I always grew up being told, you have a talent, don't waste it. I love Beyonce, like I said earlier on Dwight Schruten's show. I love her with all my heart. And Beyonce once said that if there's no table for you, chop down that wood and build the table. And when Beyonce said that, I took it personally. So hopefully my table doesn't collapse, but that's what I'm attempting to do: chop down the wood and build the table, so that I can then invite people who are just like me or different from me with their own skill sets to the table. Because the biggest issue in this country amongst people our age is they feel like they can't come back home. They feel like there's nothing for them there. So if we don't create something, then how is there ever going to be something? We are a part of the problem if we just keep complaining all day long about it.
Okay. On the 18th, Ashley, you're having an event. Is this your first event, or you've been doing stuff in the past? Because I want to know the build-up.
Well, our advocacy in terms of Catherine Florence is very new. We've done our own individual volunteer work, but Catherine Florence is a new initiative, and this will be our first event.
Okay.
For the initiative, and women's rights was a passion project for us. So we've been spearheading women's rights over the past few months, and we decided to raise funds to donate to the Bahamas Crisis Center, because they're a great organization that is constantly helping abuse victims who are coming to them for resources and assistance. And we want, but in terms of work for us, and why, me as why I as a young woman have decided that I wanted to do this work is because my passion for education started when I was probably about 15. I started volunteering in my church, doing mentor programs with Vacation Bible School. That's how it started for me. And I did a volunteer teaching assistantship at a school in my constituency, in my church's constituency, to assist with a third grade class during COVID. During COVID, a lot of these children ended up falling behind. They're extremely capable kids, but they just did not have the resources during COVID to keep up with their grade level. So I saw a need, and I worked with my community services leader at the Centerville Seventh-day Adventist Church, and we've been putting on a tutoring program every summer for the past 3 years. Women's rights is a separate initiative altogether, but it started from the same need to try to educate. And I think that I'm a writer. I love the written word. I love being able to express myself and my thoughts through the written word. So when Crystal and I spoke about the importance of actually trying to re-educate people to avoid and prolong ignorance in our country, writing articles for the Nassau Guardian, which is, and we have about 3 articles that we've written in total for this year as it relates to this particular initiative. And, the climax of this, of all the work that we've been doing is, this event that we have coming up on Sunday.
Okay. And mind you call it Nassau Guardian name, and I got excited. So I got to promote you to Nassau Guardian, right?
Yeah.
Now, you're both in university,
Yes.
right? Crystal is studying law, right?
Studied law. I already studied
Look
law.
at you.
I have a law degree. So I'm studying international relations right now.
Studying international relations, and she has a law degree, and coming home. And mind you, you're going to a big-time school. So, see, and I'm being vague, and I'm mentioning that because I want my listening audience to appreciate that both of you come from a life of, I'm going to use this word loosely because I don't want it to take away from you, but a life of privilege, right? You're not from an inner city where life is hard and then you say, boy, I'm going to have to fight for these things. You have decided to say, hey, despite having a fairly easy life, going to a school, private school, and then going off to university, right? But I'm going to come home. I'm going to come home and fight. See, that narrative is not necessarily a common narrative for us. We used to inner city people fighting. We used to women had hardship to overcome fighting. But I want to understand what made this your passion. Say, I come in to fight for these women.
Well, trying to figure out how I can say this in a short way. I was raised by a woman. I was raised by my grandmother. And I was surrounded by women my entire life. And not to compare myself to people who would have been through some serious things in their life, but I was lucky enough to know I've had certain things handed to me. And I was told, listen, other people don't have what you have, so do not waste what it is that you have at all. I watched my grandmother fight for things for other people. I watched her give to other people. I watched my aunts, my uncles all be extremely giving and caring people. So I think my grandmother, especially Catherine, would have kicked me if I tried to act. What she like to say? She used to say, act above yourself.
So Catherine Florence is an NGO. Is it like a registered organization, or you're about to do all of that formality, but you're working?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, about to do all that formality, but this has been something that's been in the works now for about a year.
Yeah, good. So I understand you're about to do all the formality, but you're working and putting the groundwork to show
Yes.
that you are dedicated to this thing. But Ashley, you say that your claim now is women's rights, right? What's women's rights? Because me and Erin row about this all the time. Erin is an advocate, right? And that's why she would have been better to do this interview, right? Because what more rights do women want, man? You have more rights than me. What is this women's rights thing you are fighting for as a young professional woman who was gifted, right? What you fighting for still?
Well, the thing is, okay, the Bahamas comparatively, is a very progressive nation compared to other countries in the Caribbean. You hear that at every single United Nations conference. You hear that at every single Commonwealth conference, and it's true. You know, the statistics speak for themselves. But in terms of us and us alone, there's still so much more to be done. And I think in terms of women's rights, we have to consider the idea that there are levels to women's rights, and there are levels to the feminist agenda. And I think that what we are not advocating for, we're not advocating out of spite with men. We're not advocating because we're angry and we're upset and we want to be men to be done away with. We just believe that there should be a level playing field for men and women in different facets of life. And we decided to tackle this issue based on what we talked about in our articles. We spoke about gender roles, and we spoke about the issue of consent. And the fact of the matter is that we want to be able to establish the idea that women and men should be able to have an equal voice with each other. There should be mutual respect, mutual submission within relationships, and in terms of our socio-political landscape, there needs to be equality with men and women, and we feel like there's still an imbalance in the Bahamas that needs to be addressed.
You have written 3 articles, joint articles, as you launch your organization and in events, right? I see Ashley mentioned gender roles and consent that you wrote about within these 3 articles. What do you mean by consent? You know what I mean? I know there's a big debate on whether there's such a thing as marital rape, and I'm sure you might have had strong views on such. Gender roles. My wife forced me to take out the garbage, right? And every time I said, "But you right there, why can't you take out the garbage?" And she gives me that look and said, "You take out the garbage." And I'm hearing this gender roles, right? It's my role to take out the garbage. It's my role to fix the house when the hurricane come, and when I come home and I tired, it's her role to cook, man. No?
Well,
You got this one, Ash.
Sure. So,
Well-
so in terms of gender roles,
I was just gonna say, first of all, child, we can't really speak on your personal life
trying to say.
because
I
I
ain't
don't
trying to
really,
say.
I don't really know your wife. Shout out to her. I don't know your personal life, so we can't speak on your personal.
We just talking about gender roles.
family dynamic, but we can give you, well, what Ashley can give you is the general rundown on gender roles as we've discussed it in the articles.
So what we've discussed in the articles is that the based on a biblical context, the Bible does not support a linear binary, a strict binary between what men are supposed to do and what women are supposed to do. Based on biblical theory and applications in the Bible, men and women are meant to show each other mutual respect, mutual servitude, mutual submission. And this is a part of their duties as husband and wife. While there is a level where a husband is meant to be the leader of the home, the husband is also needs to show his submission to God. He is not meant to have totalitarian control over his family with absolutely no say. He's not meant. This is not meant to be a dictatorship. And we decided, for example, you mentioned that cooking was your wife's role. You putting up posts and putting up the shutters for the hurricane. When hurricanes come is your role. Taking out the garbage is your role. Sure, if this is what you all agree, but first, does your wife work?
Of course.
Okay, so
Careful, Ash.
Yeah. Her salary doubles my salary. She makes good money.
and
Shout out to your wife for real then.
Yeah, man. She's a smart one.
right, and lovely, absolutely lovely. And but generally speaking, when you have a household where there are two people making dual incomes, or where there are two providers in the home, they've decided to share the responsibility of being the breadwinners of the home. And in order to compensate for the fact that one parent is not home doing the household duties, both parents have to assist with household duties. So if she's the better cook, then that's great, and that's the dynamic that you all have. If you're better at putting up posts, then that's the dynamic that you all
I understand.
have. Yes.
I understand.
So we were just trying to stress the idea that not everything has to be separated into women must stay home,
Definite.
men must go out and
Okay.
work.
Go
And
ahead.
I also
Crystal.
think that it's important to say here that we're not trying to negate obvious, time-tested physiological differences. I think often, sometimes that can be confused. People are trying to say that certain things should or should not happen based on that, or sometimes people try to disregard it entirely, and we have not done that because God knows that out of me and my cousin, he's the stronger one. That's just how it is.
So the Catherine Florence Initiative is having an event this Sunday.
Yes.
This Sunday on August, right? August 18th. What time is your initiative? And who is your target audience to be in attendance?
Right. So our initiative starts at 4:30. We're going to have a small cocktail reception and networking event, and people are free to attend and mix and mingle. And then we have a talent show and concert starting at 6 p.m. and it goes from 6 to 8. And our target audience is everyone, young and old.
It's a
So
family
I couldn't
event,
come.
man. It's a
affair.
family
Okay.
event.
Okay. And where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the New Providence Community Center, right off of Blake Road. And they've graciously given us the space from 4:30 to 8. And we are hoping that we can get a lot of support.
So
for people to come.
4:30 to 8 p.m.
Yes.
I got to pay?
Child, yeah, man.
Okay, what's the
'Cause
price?
we trying to give money to the crisis center.
There you go. You got to tell me these things. So
Right.
part proceeds or all
No
you
proceeds,
giving
but-
all the money to the
Yes,
crisis
sir.
center?
All of it. Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's the
because-
price to get inside?
Oh, so for prices, we have general admission tickets for adults, $20.
That's not bad.
For teens, $15. So teens 13 through 18. For children 12 and under, that's $10. And then we have cocktail tables for $50, and that includes a drink. And VIP tables, which includes food and beverages. is $150.
And you get VIP parking if you get the VIP ticket.
I'm
Priority
just
parking.
impressed that
Yeah,
y'all are
priority
young
parking.
women who trying to spearhead this big event and that y'all making it happen.
Child.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's been a
And-
labor of love, but
Yes.
yes.
And
But I have some telephone calls who want to engage with you, and I want to talk more about your event. So it's a concert that is going to happen, and you be a part of all the proceeds are going to the crisis center. That's
yes,
what you're saying?
so talent show, concert, yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to the caller, and then we'll explore exactly what all I can be getting for my $20. Because you see what package I'm taking, right? My $20. But go ahead, caller. Can you hear us?
Yeah, you could hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, Papa, yeah. Good day, ladies.
Good day.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, good, and congratulations. Thank God for allowing great Grammy to live to see 106 in the y'all on Dwight Strong this morning. And thank God that y'all back still here for us to be able to call in and listen to some more. There's so much questions wanted to know, like y'all views, knowing where you say you come from and how you explain that. Saying that you're a Christian feminist son away, but that's what you're saying you are. And you're saying many things with the Americans and the world feminists agree for. You guys don't agree. So I was wondering if Miss Catherine Flores is all two of you all Grammys, if you all two is cousins or friends. I also wanted to know, and just questions, knowing how you sound like you're grounded. And if I was your daddy, I would have been proud of all two of y'all, right? Listening to y'all this morning. And
Thank
I
you very
say,
much.
I wonder if they in a relationship or if they married. The most important question, because you talk about woman power with Dwight, and you're talking about it now, how strong, the strong women and stuff like that, and thank God for you all, and I wish you all, like, you all had a talk show or a podcast that we could be able to go and listen to some of the opinions or views of how you all feel or what you all think about a Christian's perspective. My question
Wow.
to you all, right, because so I kind of confused. I grew up knowing one thing, right? But the world changing so much now. So you all
Right.
talking with strong women, right?
Uh-huh.
You get these people like the LGBTQ and people like Kamala Harris and stuff. They confusing me. They telling me that not because you have a vagina, you're a woman. But all my
Lord.
life I thought that's the only thing. What is female woman? They can have children. They confusing. So what's your view? What is a woman? Thank God for y'all. Y'all keep up the good work.
Okay,
Thank
now
you
I can
so
respond
much.
to that first earlier part, and
Yeah, so, well, for Crystal and I are friends. We've been very close friends for a very long time, almost, I
For
want to say
forever.
8 years now.
girl, it's been longer than 8 years. We over a decade
Yeah,
now.
close to a decade. Yeah, it's
We
been
over a
long
decade.
time.
It's been over a decade,
We met
Ash.
when we became friends when we were 13, I believe, and now
13,
we're
yeah.
20. I'm 22 and Crystal is 22.
Also
we're about to be
22.
23.
Well, you're only 22 years old.
Yeah,
That means
man.
you look young.
I tell you, we babies.
You look young.
Yes.
You look young.
So that's that. In terms of our grandparents and their relationships, my grandmother who passed away, she was Florence and she was happily married. But her husband passed away at a fairly young age. I believe that he was only 53 when he had passed. So I never got a chance to meet him. He passed away when my mother was only 16, and unfortunately he had cancer. But she was very happily married for a very long time, and my parents are married. Yeah, I'm not married. I'm still young. I'm still in school. But
Yeah, and on my end, my grandmother, the one who raised me, she was married, and her husband unfortunately passed when she was quite young as well. But she's a big advocate for marriage. I am still in school, so just like Ash, not married, just trying to not bubble in my studies, essentially. I wanted to thank you also for your kind words here, and I won't touch everything you said, but part of what you said about American feminists and how certain things were confusing. I think certain things are confusing because there's a certain stereotype, the term feminist, which that's a very American thing. It's not even necessarily shared in other parts of the world. And I think because we're so heavily influenced by America, it makes it very easy for people to associate what we're saying with America. But take America out your mind when you hear us talking. Think exclusively about the Bahamas.
and also consider the idea that what we're fighting for is not we just want to fight for just equality between men and women. We're not fighting for female power over men, and we're also not fighting for men to be done away with, men to have a smaller voice. men, this is not a we hate men agenda at all. You know?
And when you say equality, when she says equality, we also mean, a mutual respect between the two sexes,
Right.
Because we can't get anywhere as a country if we end up like America and we start pitting men against women. That would be the incorrect way to go about this. And neither of us, but this isn't a men versus women kind of thing. So don't read the articles in that context. This is simply here's the problem as we see and to some degree have lived it. And here is why we think this problem is, and here's how we think we should move forward as a country. And if you have different views on that, then that's entirely fine too. But what I really want to avoid is us ending up like America. 'Cause, child, you see they in a state right now, child. So don't think about them when you think about us, I beg.
And we to emphasize what Crystal said about not this campaign not being a men versus women campaign. We would love it if we had men support us. We would love it if we could all work together, because we don't want to insult men or offend them. We just want to establish the idea that there is an issue that we can work on together, that can be solved if we work together as a team.
So you want men your age, older, whatever it is, to come out and support you at this event?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, we already
definitely.
have some of them coming and supporting us at the event. I'm very proud of Timmy, who's going to be very upset that I
Yes.
mentioned him on here.
As Timmy?
But yeah, my little cousin Timothy,
Okay.
because Timothy he's been cheering us on quietly in the background, getting all his friends on. But shout out to all of Timmy's friends, and I was shocked. I don't know if Ashley was shocked, but I was shocked because I didn't think that these young boys would quite frankly care about what we were doing or even be interested in showing up to the event. Like, maybe I was a bit more negative in my approach to who would come to the event, but I was so shocked and I'm so proud. And it's so many amazing young men that have reached out and said, yeah, you have a point.
I have a quote I tell my 16-year-old that well-behaved, quiet women are not remembered, right? That she needs to speak out and speak loudly, defend herself. And to see young women like yourself, well-poised, well-polished, to say, hey, I'm standing up, I am volunteering, I am participating, I am speaking out, is something I'm marveled about, right? But proud to watch you communicate with each other and have a voice. But is it important for women to have a voice? Can y'all just sit
Definitely.
there and just let me take care of y'all and y'all just be pretty women? Why y'all gotta be so?
Well, if you
out there?
wanna, if you're a woman that just wants to sit back and be a pretty woman, feel free. There's no problem with that. And if you want to be a woman that has a voice, feel free. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think that there's an issue at all. So I don't think it needs to be one or the other, and that's how it's been painted. That's why I tell you need to take America out your mind, because that's how it's been painted for them.
And also, I think that what we are not trying to insult women who prefer to fall into more traditional roles as well,
Because those are important and necessary.
They're very necessary, and we're also not trying to say that we don't have traditional principles either, because I believe that we still do as young Christian women. But what we also want to emphasize is the fact that if you have a problem with the way that something is working, but you're sitting down and you're just complaining and you're not doing anything,
You're never going to get anywhere.
then you're not going to get anything done. We recognize that there was a problem, and we recognize that we had the ability and the resources to, facilitate actually helping helping this cause, trying to speak to a need, and we wanted to assist in the best way that we can. So we are young and we are advocates. We're working with limited resources, but we didn't want to just be the people who just decided to complain and complain and complain
When
and
there
have
was an
get
avenue
nothing
to do
done.
something.
Yeah.
I had three texts now
Okay.
asking
I'm scared.
how to get in contact with you. They want to volunteer. They want to participate.
Oh,
they
that's
want
great.
They want to know if you have a social media page.
Yes,
Can you
we
give
do.
that type of information out that they can contact you, social media page? They want to see what all you're doing. They want to know what all have you chronicled in terms of accomplishment, in terms of your volunteerism.
Right.
They want to know that. Where can they go, a meet spot to do that?
Okay, so you can speak about Facebook and Twitter if you.
Oh, I was actually going to give the email address.
Yes.
So I was
Oh,
going
all
to
of that.
say,
All of
yeah,
that.
so I was just going to say that if you're interested in volunteering or in working with us in any way, the best thing for you to do would be to send an email to the Catherine Florence email. So it's catherineflorence242@gmail.com. CATHERINEFLORENCE 242@gmail.com. You can just say that you heard us on the radio, and thank you for listening, by the way. And you can say that, tell me exactly what it is that you're interested in doing. Tell me why, and leave your telephone contact. And then, Ashley, you can talk about the social media.
And we have a social media. We have our social media pages. They're limited though. We don't have posts on them as yet, but we've been using them to contact people. So if you want to reach us, we have our two handles as Women's Rights 242. For Facebook and Twitter, I believe that they're also Women's Rights
also
242.
Women's Rights 242.
But yes, please
Sorry,
definitely
mistake,
reach out.
not Twitter. Twitter is Women's 242.
Okay, Women's 242 and Facebook Women's Rights 242, and you can definitely get in contact with us. We'd be extremely happy to respond to you all if there's anything if you have any questions about the fundraiser or about what we're doing, if you want to work on collaborations with writing, that we would definitely be happy to respond to you all.
I also got a text about your personal narrative in terms of your personal growth, a personal accomplishment. I know both of you in school, right? I know Crystal has a law degree and now she's doing this international business type thing. And I know Ashley's doing some kind of literature type thing. But if someone wanted the text, want to understand you in terms of a narrative. So can you briefly both give a narrative of what your small things you've accomplished or what you're doing so they can understand and see how this fits inside your advocacy?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to try to cut this down. So when I was 13 years old, I studied legal studies. I got a legal studies diploma from an online diploma and certification site. And then when I was 14, I got an invitation to attend the Global Young Leaders Conference. So all my life I had been interested in law, and I really loved watching the news, but I hadn't put two and two together. I didn't think the two and two go together. I always thought the news was just, something. And so when I was 14 and I went to the conference, I went to the United Nations, and that's when it started occurring to me that, law and the news go hand in hand. And when I finally realized, okay, so the news falls in relations, that's fine. I started studying it a bit more in depth, watching YouTube videos, that kind of thing. And I came across this little thing called human rights. And I thought, yeah, we need that over here for sure. And so I started delving into that a bit deeper. Fast forward now, I'm 16 years old, and I went to Cambridge to complete a course called a course with Cambridge Immerse. And during the time I was completing that course, I was very blessed to have a tutor who said to me, actually, if this is something you really want to do, you could be good at it. And I said to him, well, how do I go about combining my love for law with this newly found love for international relations? And he talked me through the entire thing. And I said, okay, I wasn't quite sure where I could go with it yet. In my mind, I still needed to just be the conventional lawyer. It wasn't until a lot of years later, when I was about 17, 18, that I started realizing, there's an avenue here. So, but then when I went back to the UK to study, I got very involved in different, I don't even know how to describe that place, Ashley. I got very involved in different, I guess you can say, diplomatic endeavors. And that led me here, more or less. I'm skipping a lot of steps, but that's the general theme of it.
And you're coming home.
Of course.
You're coming home to the Bahamas.
I believe in that.
And you're going to make a difference.
Crazy as it sounds, I could try.
What university are you at now?
I'm at the University of Cambridge.
Right now, I study international relations. And go ahead, Ashley, you.
Well, in terms of what I've been doing, I had a very negative relating growing up initially because I was born with a condition that made it difficult for me to see because I'm very nearsighted. But by the time I was 11, I started reading The Phantom of the Opera, which is
very impressive, by the way, guys.
Yeah, which is by far my favorite text. I read it. That was the first big boy text that I read when I was little. And I absolutely loved it. I'm still obsessed with it even now. And that thrusted me into the world of, from the time that I was 16, that I wanted to be an author. And they were kind of like, I don't know, because they said that they weren't doubting my capabilities, but they wanted me to be in a stable career. So I went to college to do finance at first. Absolutely hated it. It was terrible. I can't count. I can't do math. It didn't work for me. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. I told my parents that what I am best at is writing. And I love the humanities. I love literature, history. I love religion. And I love modern languages, so on and so forth. So I told them that, what I am best at is what I think that I can, really turn into something that will be profitable for me. And, they decided to take a chance. They said, okay, you can make the switch to English. Let us, but we have to see how your grades progress. And I had exponential growth when I had finally made my switch to English. I made that switch very early on in the game when I was,
Thank God for that.
yeah, when nearing the end of my first year of college. And I studied in Canada at the University of Ottawa. And I got my degree in English with a minor in communications. And then I took a chance and I applied to NYU.
Which is an Ivy League school for those that don't know.
And New York University. I was afraid about applying because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. But they accepted me. They said that they were happy to have me, and they were encouraging me as much as possible to move from Canada to come to. I'm now studying English and American literature at New York University, and I'm about to start my thesis in the fall. And besides women's rights and education, I also have a major interest in Bahamian history, particularly slave history, and trying to bridge the gaps between all of the silences that we have in our slave history. So I've been working with different people at the archives. Miss Patrice Williams has been a really big help for me. So is Christopher Curry and Sean McQueenie. I've had a lot of lovely people helping me in my endeavors for history as well. And I think that that's going to become my specialization because I'm going on to do the doctorate. And after I get my doctorate, I plan to bring whatever knowledge and experience I got abroad back to Nassau.
You coming home too?
Yes,
I'm
that's
glad.
the goal.
Any woman coming home, I'm always impressed.
Right.
Why the crisis center? Why to say, hey, I'm gonna make some. If I ever can make some money, I can give it to this crisis center. Why the crisis center?
So I've never met Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson in person, or at least I don't think I have. I might have when I was younger and don't remember. But I've always, I don't know, growing up, I've always heard kind of on the one end of the spectrum, people would tell me how amazing she was and how she started this crisis center and how you should, I'm very big on you didn't get to where you are today by yourself. You stand on the backs of people that fought the good fight for where you are now. And so I've always been interested in women in this country in particular who did things that have allowed me to now be at the University of Cambridge. And so when I started looking into Dr. Patterson, I started speaking to people, and I don't understand why, but there was always this thing of, oh yeah, she did this thing, but it was always kind of understated, and I always hated that, because why are we understating this very incredible, very brave thing that she did? And so when Ashley and I were brainstorming, because we had decided on the fundraiser, we just hadn't decided who we would have wanted to give the money to. So when we were brainstorming, and I brought up, or you brought it up, I don't remember which one of us brought it up. Someone brought up the Crisis Center, and we started talking about Dr. Patterson, and we started talking about the work the Crisis Center does, and this reputation that the Crisis Center has, typically amongst offenders of something. And we started thinking to ourselves, you know what? This lady is the reason we can write these articles. So it's only right that we pay homage to that and that we help her organization. Because in a couple years' time, if the Catherine Front Initiative still exists, we would want young people, oh yeah, you did that very strange, slightly brave thing.
And we're going to take a quick break here. We're talking to Crystal and Ashley from the Catherine Florence Initiative, and they're having a Lead Her. I like how you play on words.
Yeah,
Lead her.
shout out to
Lead Her,
ChatGPT.
Who's ChatGPT?
You know the AI.
Oh yeah, I did it. See, I own, right?
So I knew I wanted it to be Lead Her, but I wasn't sure if that made sense. So I asked ChatGPT.
And I like it. Lead
ChatGPT told
her.
me that it was catchy and marketable.
We coming. They're having a big event on Sunday. Big event coming this Sunday, August 18th. A cocktail reception starting at 4:30, going to 5:45 p.m. And they're going to come back and give more details about that because all the proceeds, all the money they're making from this talent show,
All of it, 100%.
you know what to give out 100% money after
Yeah,
you work hard? Going to the crisis center. But we're going to be right back and go in more detail on how to contact them, how to partner with them as they continue to do some initiatives in order to empower women, to help women in general. They are trailblazers inside this Bahamas. And I have just been merely 22
Babies.
years old babies and say, man, I'm dedicated and putting my shoulder to the wheel to help women. We'll be right back. This is On the Clock with Erin Greene. Of course, this is C.A. Nuri holding on for Erin Greene, who's going to be back later on in the week. We'll be right back.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know, John, you don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody. I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
You can report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I boy?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. You can buy your local paper at Freeport Convenience Stores, Western Bakery, De Gregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Now is the time to reach your Grand Bahama Market with affordable packages, including print and digital. Call GB News Sales Representative Kavandre at 822-6717 or message him on WhatsApp for ad rates. Classified ads are now available every Tuesday as well. Keep up with everything Grand Bahamian every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian.
Hey Bahamas, ready for some eye-openers? Check out 2 brand new books by our legendary 3-time PM, Hubert Ingram. Get the tea on his amazing leadership and courage to buck the system. These books are changers, movers and shakers, and anyone passionate about our nation's roots and future. Available now at Dungalik Studios, Logos Bookstore, the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, and Chapter 1 Bookstore. Score your copies today. Celebrate our amazing legacy.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene. Of course, this is C.A. Nuri holding on for Erin Greene, who's out for most of the week, but she's going to be back at the later part of the week. We're talking to the Catherine Florence Initiative representative from there, who is presenting Lead Her. The Catherine Florence Initiative proudly presents the Lead Her Talent Show fundraiser, and evening dedicated to celebrating talent, fostering community connections, and launching our women's rights campaign. Lead Her.
I love the power you say that with. Say it one more time.
Lead Her. Yeah, I love it, actually. All funds will be directly donated to the Bahamas Crisis Center, supporting vital services for those in need. And we go more in detail of that because this event is happening this Sunday.
Yes.
And it's going to be at the New Providence Community Center. Mm-hmm. And it's starting at what time again?
4:30 for the cocktail reception. Actually, you should be very proud. I've been getting this time wrong all week.
Yeah.
4:30 for the cocktail reception and 6 for the talent show. No, tickets, child. How else we can raise the money?
I don't know. You tell me. Tell me the tickets.
So we do have tickets on sale, and the best way for people to come to the event is we're accepting cash and check donations, checks written directly to the Bahamas Crisis Center, not the Catherine Florence Initiative, because we're going to be giving all of the checks directly to the 100%. Bahamas Crisis Center. 100%.
So you can write a check to the Bahamas Crisis Center and say for the leader or for the Catherine Florence.
You can just make it out to the Bahamas Crisis Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we ain't need to put our name on that.
And for our social media handles, we're going to be posting information about ticket sales, because we're going to be having general admission tickets, and we have cocktail tables and VIP tables. Like I had mentioned before, general admission tickets are $20 for adults and $10 for children. And we also have cocktail tables for $50 per person. 50. And VIP tables for $150 per person.
150.
Yes. And what's included in our cocktail tables, for example, is we're going to give people priority parking and a free beverage. And for the VIP tables, you're entitled to food, unlimited beverages, and priority parking. And all of the proceeds go directly to the crisis center. Everything.
And I see New Providence Community Center has partnered with you.
Yes.
Yes, actually.
And anyone else has partnered with you? I mean, big shout out to they're always volunteering to help people, by the way. And so I'm very impressed with them, and I want to say thank you. But who else has partnered with you to make this thing happen? Because this is a big event, and I guess for two young women to bring this off and carry it off is impressive. But who all helped you to move it along?
Okay, so that's a tricky question, because I don't have permission yet to name everyone.
But then
what I can say is I want to give a very big thank you to my cousin Wazzy Poo Roland, because from January, when all of this came to him, Roland has been nothing but on board. Sometimes Roland was more on it than the two of us combined. For a young man to be that way, he's only 20.
He's 2021.
Yeah, 2021. And for a young man to be that way, he saw how important this was as soon as it came up, and he really hammered home. He was like, okay, we got this, we can do this, even in times when I wasn't sure sometimes we could pull this off. So I want to say a very big thank you to Roland. I also want to say a very big thank you to our family, because let me tell you something. This thing has been as much theirs as it is ours. They have really rallied around us. There is last minute things that we brought them. Thank you for not hating us for leaving it to 2 weeks to ask for certain stuff. I want to say a thank you to Joel as well, who has been kind of acting as both of our secretary in a way. Again, he's another young man who we didn't think the support that we've been getting from people like him has been amazing, and I want to thank him for that. I want to say thank you to Kondwani, because me and Ashley can't count 2 pennies if you pay us $1 million to do it. So I want to say thank you for Kondwani, because before I even got to the question of asking if she wanted to help, Kondwani said, okay, how can I help? Because I know the two of y'all can't count. So thank you to her for handling finances for us. I want to say thank you to all of our donors. I appreciate the guidance that you guys have given to us throughout this entire journey. Lord knows I call you all a lot, so thank you for bearing with all of my calls and texts. I want to say a thank you to my grandmother, to Ashley's mom, to Ashley's dad, to my dad, to my mom, to them especially, because child, the last minute asks we have been asking of them. And I want to say thank you to Ashley for not calling me crazy and for giving me a certain amount of confidence in doing this, and for helping to better this. She took it way beyond what I could have taken it, and I'm very, very grateful to that for her and her knowledge. So shout out to you, girl.
Let's go back in terms of contacts to make sure people, because some people actually write me in terms of trying to reach out to you, right?
Right.
I guess they love the idea of young professional women coming back and dedicating to the Bahamas. So they want to make sure they get contacts to you, to those who are listening, so they can communicate, I guess, and partner.
Ooh, before we get to that, sorry. I hope my twannies don't hate me because they're in this, but I want to say thank you to Ruth and thank you to Melba. Thank you to both of you.
And in terms of contacts, we can reiterate what our social media handles are and our company email. Our company email is catherineflorence242@gmail.com. CATHERINE Florence FLORENCE 242@gmail.com. And if you want to reach out to us individually, I can give you my Proton email, Ashley H01@protonmail.com, ASHLEYH01 @proton mail.com. And then our social media handles: Women's Rights 242 for TikTok and Instagram. Winter
and Women's Rights 242
and Women's
for
Rights
Facebook.
242 for Facebook. Yes.
Crystal, you want to give your email address?
I can't. I have too many emails in that already.
I can imagine.
Ashley will answer a lot
definitely,
faster than me.
I'm very happy to answer any emails, and Crystal will be copied in whatever responses we need. We're very happy to collaborate with people and talk to people about what we're doing. We're happy to give more information about the fundraiser if anyone wants to know anything else.
And about the organization itself, if they want to know anything else about that too.
Yes, definitely, because we don't just want to have this one big thing and then just stop here.
Yeah, man.
This
is just the start, people.
Yes,
this is the start.
This is just our
And
start.
Crystal, I leave the last word with you. You have 30 seconds to tell me what's happening this Sunday on the 18th at 4:30 at New Providence Community Center. Go ahead.
Listen, if you ain't get the message yet, it's a fundraiser. Lead her, and all of the proceeds are going to the Bahamas Crisis Center. Come out and support the young people. They have been so eager. They're gonna sing. They're gonna dance. We have spoken word. Y'all know that y'all love a good opportunity to sit down with your little drink, get dressed up, and watch a show. So come and do that.
I'm just excited to see
New
people
Providence
your
Community
age
Center.
communing with each other and mature people and be all being entertained. So I'm kind of excited with that.
Yes, and it's going to be a wonderful event. We're going to have wonderful music, lots of entertainment. It's going to be a great event. Food will be available. Food and beverages. We're going to have.
If you come to the cocktail reception, actually, the food that's going to be at the cocktail, not food, more like hors d'oeuvres, little knickknacks at the cocktail reception are free. So come and have yourself a little snack, wet your throat before the event starts. We're coming up with that expression for me.
Right. So definitely, please come out and support, and we would greatly appreciate it.
This is Sunday, August 18th. Cocktail reception starts at 4:30 p.m. It goes to 5:45, and that's when the big talent show starts at 6 p.m. and that's going to last until 8 p.m. It's going to be at the New Providence Community Center, which is located where again?
Off Blake Road.
Off Blake Road, where everybody know where it is, right? And general admission. If you just want to pay the general admission, the price for that is
$20.
And now, if you want to have a high boy and say, "Man, this is my table right here," how much I gotta pay?
$50.
And if I want to be VIP,
you got $150.
That's for them people that are Zonto and things who can afford that. Say, man, I go to the big hotel. This has been On the Clock with Erin Greene. And thank you very much for joining me. My name is C.A. Nuri. Today we had Crystal and Ashley from the Catherine Florence Initiative. It's an ongoing women's rights, equality type organization.
Human rights. Human rights advocacy.
Yeah, good. Because I want to hear when you start talking about the men them.
Yeah, we will. Don't worry, it coming.
I might be the leader of the men them.
You're the leader of the man them?
Because there's a leader of the woman them already here, so I need to be the leader of the man them.
Now, when I call you to be leader of the man them, you got to answer. You got to come and rep us for the campaign.
Same thing. Anyway, On the Clock with Erin Greene. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for having us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.